Hania, the leader of Hamas, living in his villa in Qatar, has declared this a day of hate towards Jews, not Israelis, Jews around the world. And if this isn't proof of global anti Semitism and the support that he's getting, hell, I don't know what is. Welcome back to the Rent Network. I'm Stuart Bruce. Well, no, I'm David Solomon. We're going to get in today to this raw, unfiltered issue. We get into the news hardcore, and this week the news has only been about the war in Israel. Pop culture, politics, and beyond. We get into society, and this is about the absurdity of modern life in our world. This deep-seated issue that has been really, really, really showing the ugly side of humanity. It's been unbelievable. Buckle up, and here we go. Stuart, I got to tell you, this has been a crazy week where the masks are off on all the anti Semites. The ones that have told us to our faces, oh no, we're on your side. And now we realize who's really a friend of the Jewish community, let alone Israel, and who is our enemy.
Okay, well, that was a short introduction. David, at least go for 5 more minutes. It really, I think, comes from the polarization of what's going on. Earlier in the week, David tried to explain some of the propaganda issues and where they come from. And we're going to get more into that as the next weeks and months continue, because clearly it's not sunk into a lot of people. Today is basically known as a day of hate. Iran has had its octopus and its tentacles go out to have its a war on Jew Day, something that I haven't heard since Kristallnacht 1938. Becky Anderson, 3 days ago, interviewed the prime minister, the PM, president, Ehud Barak.
It wasn't president, it was prime minister.
Prime minister. Becky Anderson, at every opportunity, tried to get in. So you're an occupier. So you're an imperialist. So you're the aggressor. You're the bad person. Becky Anderson lives in the United States. She's born in 1967, so she's not a millennial. She's our age. She knows more from right and wrong. She's from United Kingdom. Where in the world does she get off hating Jews, blaming the land of Israel? They forget 1948. They forget 1967 and the years in between those two dates. They forget 1973. They forget 2005. And they forget what happened just days ago. The murder of women and children and elderly without provocation, warning of any kind. Let me ask you a question. Hamas is a terrorist organization, a tentacle of Iran. Did they put out a news release they're going to invade Israel? Did they put a news release they were going to go into the settlements and murder and kill? Did they put out a news release to everyone's cell phone that we're coming in? Did they send flyers from the sky saying, get out of the town, we're coming in, guns blazing and knives to murder women and children? It has been discovered by the Wall Street Journal, a 14-page manual. Did you know that, David? A 14-page manual on how to murder women and children in schools and to target women and children. Who in their right modern mind targets women and children? I don't know of any. Did the Hamas troops gather on a border so that everyone could see there is a strength of military size and might about to come through? Was there a trajectory from Iran? We're coming for you. there's a lot of similarities between September 11th. Why are there similarities? Did the terrorists that took down the World Trade Center, that tried to take down the Pentagon, that tried to take down other sites in the United States, announce to the world that they were coming? That is the reason why they are terrorists, not militants. Terrorists. There's a difference. A militant could be construed as someone for defending from an occupier, like you have in some third world countries. Do you know that all of you gay, lesbian, women, men, you don't have your freedoms in Gaza, West Bank, Iran, Iraq? But in Israel, you can live free, enjoy, sababa, have a coffee, Turkish coffee, have a dinner with your Arab neighbor who's got the restaurant next door to you. No, they want to murder and kill children. And the press just doesn't want to give you the perspective. I wonder how much money Becky Anderson gets from Hamas, from Iran. Is she getting paid? Like, why would someone have this sort of opinion? Are they getting paid? Like, is there monetary value, or is it just pure hatred? Okay, you got to let me get to the point. I'm saying for a reason. If you're not getting paid money to support someone, like probably Rashid Tlaib, AOC, probably have massive amount of donors whose money will end up tracing back to Iran. And I challenge those at the IRS, instead of looking at Donald Trump and others, why don't we look at Rashid Tlaib's books and financing things? But Becky Anderson doesn't have any campaign contributions. She's just an anti-Semite. We've seen them for 5,700 years. They've worn uniforms, spoke foreign languages, come from lands that no longer exist. But we understand Becky Anderson. We understand the Hadid girls.
Well, hold on. Gigi Hadid actually posted something that was actually favorable. Let's move on.
Horrible.
No.
Horrible. I read her press release, David. She said she feels bad for all those people that lost life, and that she's so very to free Palestine. Palestine is free. You're a moron if you think otherwise. Gaza, never free.
No. Now here I'm going to stop you, because you're really off your rails. Palestine isn't free, because if Palestine was free, and again, let's talk about what that means. If Palestine was free, it'd be free of terrorism. They'd be free to flourish.
Right.
But they're under the threat of Hamas, and they're under the threat of Abbas, the Palestinian Authority. This is
what they were free. They have the right to choose.
They don't have a right to choose, and that's the
What do you mean, David? How do you not have the right to choose? I'm sorry, David. How many governments have been overthrown in 5,700 years?
Stuart, that is an American attitude, and I love when Americans do this. You all have this concept of Americanized culture. Let's throw a revolution like we did in 1776. Let's just overthrow the government. This is not a reality with Hamas. There is an extraordinary power that's wielded over the Palestinians, where there is no right to vote. There is no right of anything. You think about it, Abbas has been sitting in power now since Arafat died, because if he calls an election tomorrow, and these elections are all rigged anyways, Hamas wins. And Hamas took over together. No, Stuart, I let you know. No, Stuart,
you have an American revolution, you have a French revolution, you have a Haitian revolution, you have a United Irish revolution, you have a Serbian revolution, you have Latin, you have a Greek. There's all kinds of revolutions.
You do this all the time. You rant. You don't. You know the way things are there. You guys stop. This is classic Americanism. What we've done, everybody could do. We have democracy. Everybody has democracy. It's a lie. There is no democracy. There is none of this. Forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, forget it. And you know why they won't get it? Is because the world is filled with still with those haters and those supporters for Hamas. Stuart, let me now take over and explain to you clearly why this is not going to ever happen. Let's start with academia, where you have students being assaulted on a university campus because they're an Israeli student. The University of Florida, because, higher education, Hamas is being promoted in the classrooms. Another example, University of Virginia professor is giving an additional credit today to any student going to the pro-Hamas rallies. George Washington University, they had to censor pro-Hamas support because it was so vigilant, so much. It's Sunni. They show how to create a Molotov cocktail so they could throw it at the Jews. The 31 students groups at Harvard who signed the deal, now they're starting to pull out. Why and only why? Because U.S. CEOs are demanding from Harvard the names of every single one of those people on the list so they can rescind their offers. Academia is ripe with hate, because these social democrats, as they like to call themselves, won't. You talk about Becky, whatever her name is at CNN. They're doubling down, Stuart. They're doubling down because they refuse to acknowledge that they have been wrong. David, politicians, hold on. You went off. My turn. Politicians. We know about the squad. They're easy. Bernie Sanders in Machimo, this piece of shit from Vermont, a Jew-hating Jew, has been blaming Israel since time immemorial. It's all Israel's fault. And if a Jew blames Israel to this extent, must be right. It must be right. So when you go to places like North Carolina and they're Democrats, the Republicans there vote pro-Israel to support Israel. And then you have these pieces of garbage, these North Carolina Democrats who just don't want to, who refuse to put their support because it completely goes against their beliefs. This is the world we're in. This is the media you're in. This is the politics that you're in. And then the media, Stuart, the third axis of evil. The media. The New York Times, you said it yourself. The New York Times the other day, you said, has yet to give one word of positivity. They haven't denounced. They keep blaming Israel. They denied the Holocaust back in the day. They denied Israel's existence. They've denied. The BBC we talked about the other day, CBC, you said don't call them, when you train people that they are militants, that these militants means there's a cause. The only cause here, Stuart, is death and destruction. Free Palestine. Let's bring this right back. I said this the other day and I'll say it again. When you say free Palestine from the river to the sea, it's all about Stuart. It's all about giving Ismail Haniyeh. No, when Ismail Haniyeh is sitting there and saying, "I am calling a day of hate to kill Jews," this is your free Palestine.
All right, message. David. The people overturned the government in Greece in 1821. Latin American War was
here we go again.
18. Serbia in 1804. Irish in 1798. Haitian in 1791. The French Revolution was 1799. Listen, David, if the people that live in Gaza
I'm so tired of listening to this statement. The Palestinians can easily overthrow their governments. There are 12 terrorist organizations running around in the Palestinian territories. 12. And you're sitting here and telling me, and they have been getting financing from Iran, from the United States, from Canada, the European Union. Billions of dollars are funneled in for arms. Okay? And you're telling me it's just easy for the Palestinians to overthrow their government? That is naive. And you are no better than that Becky from CNN then. It's not going to work like that. The only way to get rid of Hamas. And the rest is what Israel is doing, unfortunately, because
No,
there's no military strong enough right now. The Palestinians are not strong enough and aren't armed well enough to overthrow their government.
listen,
And by the
David.
way, to call it a government, by the way, to call it a government is a lie in itself.
If you get rid of Hamas, it'll be replaced by Hezbollah. If you don't get rid,
Hezbollah is not
the
coming
problem is
in,
Iran.
and Hezbollah is in Lebanon. Stuart, you have to get rid of them all. You have to get rid of them all. The same way the United States got rid of ISIS and had to get rid of Al Qaeda, you need to continue to play. This is a fight that doesn't end. But to sit there and to say that Palestinians who live in squalor, thanks to their government, not Israel, the people who have they have no weaponry, you know nothing, are being completely tortured. They're petrified. But it's just simple. Oh, this is just easy. Let's overthrow the government. That ain't happening. It ain't happening. We don't have enough time to go into this geopolitics, but I'm telling you, it ain't happening. And to sit here and say, oh, we did it in all these Western societies. We did this all over the place. This is a different scenario. And you cannot say we did it here, therefore we could do it there.
Who said we? David. Yeah.
Stuart, you cannot expect right now an overthrow. You saw what happened anytime there was this Arab Spring way back when. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. This is a society that deals with power, threats, and if you don't comply, not only do you suffer, but your family and your friends suffer. They're petrified. They're living in fear. And to blame Israel is the best method. And you can thank all of the Jew haters that we listed today because they're helping to push this message across.
David, on that note, you got to wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a really tough week. And and considering that Israel is on the verge of entering into Gaza, I would expect that we're going to have a very, very difficult week next week. And let's see how much of the world continues to support Israel. Not just Israel, humanity. This is a humane cause. This is not a political cause. If you support killing babies, you're inhumane. If you support killing Jews today, you are inhumane.
And if you listen,
go ahead.
Hamas is inhumane
Correct.
by storing weapons and embedding with civilians. But you want to know something, David? We have an open border in the south. They can go to different areas. They have a huge Muslim country, Egypt, next door. If they want to live there, they choose to be there, David.
Again, you're doing it wrong. You're saying you're choosing. The Egyptians have closed the border. Jordan has closed the border. There is really a humanitarian effort. Then Egypt and Jordan would open its borders to the refugees, or the people would have to be displaced temporarily, just like Poland opened for Ukraine, who are long-lasting enemies. And Poland and other countries open the doors to Ukraine to help them. The Arabs are not helping the Palestinians right now, but it's all Israel's fault.
Talk about that next week, David. All right.
Folks, we'll be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern live. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. It has been a tough week, but we thank you for all.